Λοιπόν, έχουμε στην άλλη άκρη της γραμμής τον Thurston Moore. Thurston, welcome to Channel 1. It's wonderful to have you here. Thurston? Yes, hello?
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing, Thurston?
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Are you listening?
Hi.
All right. So, are you ready for Athens?
I am. I'm totally ready for Athens, yes.
I bet you are. Thurston, what can we expect from Thurston Moore band here, really?
Thurston Moore Group.
Yeah.
I think last time I was there it was Thurston Moore Band. Now it's Thurston Moore Group.
I know.
And I think next time it's going to be Thurston Moore Experience, and then maybe Thurston Moore Ensemble, and then Thurston Moore Explosion, and then, no, but it's pretty much Thurston Moore Group at this point. I like the word group better than band. I don't know why. Maybe it just it's something about it sounds groovier or something. We're going to play most of the music we've recorded for this record, Rock and Roll Consciousness, that came out earlier this year. So we've been really sort of diving deep into that and doing that. And then we played couple of songs from the first record, and then that's a couple of songs from a record I did in 1995 called Psychic Hearts as well.
All right. Can you tell me about the decision to name your wonderful new album Rock and Roll Consciousness?
Oh, where did I get the name from?
Yeah.
I was really involved with every year I go to Boulder, Colorado, and I teach at a poetry writing workshop there called the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics, and it was founded by Allen Ginsberg and Ann Waldman in 1974. And they always have this incredible faculty there through the years, be it like Kathy Acker and William Burroughs and Gregory Corso, and so I've always been interested in it. And Ann Waldman, the founder of it, realized that I was really devoting a lot of my interests to contemporary post-war poetry, and so she asked me to teach there. And I started teaching there for the last 5 years, and I'll go back again next year. And it's a school that's sort of based on a lot of sort of Buddhist principles, and so I noticed that the idea of consciousness is always being bandied about, and attaining this connection between the real world and the metaphysical world, and this idea of kindness and being complete consideration to everybody on the planet. And I thought this was really a great philosophy. But I was trying to think of like how I can sort of think about these things without becoming involved with any kind of real religious kind of organized concepts. And I was thinking, well, I already have a religion. It's called rock and roll. And so I came up with this title, Rock and Roll Consciousness.
It's a great title.
It's sort of dedicated to everybody who sort of is devoted to music and art, and in the service of peace and understanding and love, and the recognition of and value of the equality between everybody, regardless of who you are and where you're from. And so that to me was really important. I think it's important to a lot of people that most of the people on this planet, but we get kind of overridden by those people who kind of are more interested in their own self-worth and greed and money and power. So it's kind of a record that's sort of a powerful record against power. It's a power, and it's like a good power.
Yeah, you're talking about the real power.
It's like anti-power.
the inner power.
It's anti-power.
All right. Thurston, do you really think that the vibe, the feeling of performing has changed from your earlier days to now?
Oh, well, I'm turning 60 next year, and I feel a little weirder.
That's good.
I mean, usually I don't really jump into the audience anymore so much. I used to like to go into the audience and sort of just play guitar on people's faces, and I don't really do that so much anymore. Maybe I should. I have to sort of take care of myself. I'm a vegetarian and I don't smoke, and I like to have like a nice ouzo once in a while. But other than that, I try to take care of myself, stay healthy, and be happy. You know, happiness is like the key ingredient to a long and good life. Is to find happiness. You know, and if you can sort of get yourself, you know, really in a place where you realize that if you can make other people feel good, you will feel good.
What's the more important rule, Thurston, you live by as a musician, as a rock and roll performer?
Is it what's most important to me?
Yeah.
I like everything about being in a creative lifestyle. You know, I really like being in solitary and in solitude and writing and like and just, you know, getting into this place where you're just sort of communing with nature and the universe. But I also I really like the community of music and art, and I always have ever since I was young. Starting Sonic Youth, it was all about wanting to be part of this community, this gang of radical musicians, you know, that would coexist together in these different venues of like basements and weird clubs, and I still really enjoy that. I don't have any aspirations ever to be like some kind of big rock star, like playing arenas, and you know, not that that's ever going to happen, but that's not really my fantasy at all.
You're
I feel
not
like
an FM rock and roll guy anyway. You know,
I love rock and roll, and I take pleasure from any aspect of it. You know, unless it's sort of some kind of right-wing fascist rock and roll group. You know, they do exist. You know.
I know. Yeah.
So I don't really care about them so much.
Yeah. Speaking of Sonic Youth, can you tell me your favorite gig with Sonic Youth, or a vivid memory with the band on stage?
I think the favorite memories will always be those first years of just discovering what was going on in the world as a young person, and having no money in your pocket, and getting from one city to the next city, from one country to the next country, and meeting these people who would take you into their houses, and they would feed you, and they would give you a place on the floor to sleep, and then they would like drive you to the concert, and you would play. And those days of the really early 80s were really special. I mean, I think at the time I was just like, I felt so open to discovery, you know. And so, in a romantic notion, those times are great. But also, I think in the 90s, you know, like after a band like us got quite a bit of a profile, especially after the recognition and popularity of a band like Nirvana, who we were associated with at the time. And then so all of a sudden we were doing larger concerts, and it allowed us a certain place of being catered to, where it's like you have all these people working for you, tuning your guitars and changing your guitar strings and stuff. You know, that only happened for a while. I changed my own guitar strings now, and I also set up my own guitar amp on stage. But for a while there, it was really fun having this kind of being in this place where you had like 6 people traveling with you, like making sure that every night your guitar strings were not going to break, and your sound was going to be as good as it could ever be. And that was really cool. I really liked that. And but I also sort of like being hands-on. You know, I like sort of arriving at the club and setting up my own gear and just sort of being my own, sort of doing my own construction, you know. So I like both things. I don't know. I mean, I guess I sort of miss that protection of having other people around, you know, sometimes. And plus, a lot more people know me now than they did in like the 80s, and so when I arrive at sometimes at small clubs, I'm pretty much, I'm pretty much unprotected, and so it's like I have to be ready to deal with a lot of freaks sometimes.
All right, so Thurston, I'm going to be straight and honest with you. You're a rock and roll hero for so many. new bands, new artists, you know. So who are your heroes really? I'm talking about
my heroes go beyond rock and roll. I think my heroes right now are people who are trying to sort of, help this planet from not being destroyed by like merchants of greed.
That's the spirit.
But those are my heroes, and so
mine too.
I think as far as music, I think in art, I think when I hear people devoting themselves to music as a expression of freedom and creativity and independence, and really personalized thought. These are the people who play in a genre that's usually called free improvisation. When I think of Greece, I think of people like Floris Floridis or Sakis Papamitru. These gentlemen who have been playing since the 70s. Floris lives in Thessaloniki, and he actually supported Sonic Youth, in the late 90s, early 2000s when we came and played Athens. These musicians are heroes to me because they devote themselves to a music that is not catering to the industry of commercial sales. It's purely about investigations into the beauty of sound and expression. But I love that. But I love songwriting. I love pop music. Pop music is really equated with some kind of capitalist industry, and it's just like I think it can be a friendly. I believe in friendly capitalism, and that's what rock and roll can be. Like the cool record labels, cool radio stations, cool TV stuff. It's definitely. I mean, I dig it. So I like to sort of work in both these states of thought.
It's interesting. And what do you think is the future of rock and roll, really?
The future of rock and roll is endless. I mean, rock and roll, I think, is in almost everybody's DNA right now on the planet. I mean, rock and roll is always this dance between honoring traditional music of everybody's land and everybody's region, and just bringing in the idea of new, of discovery, of just like of a progression. And it's like, so I always liked that rock and roll was about the freedom to not have any censorship. Rock and roll has always been anti-censorship. It's always been against censorship, and that's always the beauty of it. So rock and roll will always be significant, and it will always be important, and it will always be this model of change.
Any good advice for a young musician, Thurston?
Yeah, make records, make cassettes, make cassette tapes, and make physical objects. It's okay to use digital media like SoundCloud and all these things. It's okay. I mean, I think it's a great way of sharing, and sharing is wonderful. But if you really want to give somebody a gift of what you're doing, make something with your own hands. So that vibration of the physical object is really important. To hand to somebody and say, "Here's my record. Here's my cassette." It's not about making money. It's about making love.
All right. Thurston, thank you very, very much for your time. See you in Athens soon. All right.
Okay, I can't wait to see you guys.
All right. Bye-bye. Take care.